Hello, everyone. So good to be with you today. So, a part of God's story is that God gives us armor. If we are followers of Jesus, we are part of God's kingdom, and God gives us armor for protection against the powers of darkness in this imperfect world that we live in. In Ephesians 6, the Apostle Paul teaches us about how to protect ourselves in putting on the full armor of God. So to help to illustrate this, I have 2 oranges, and I want to think that they represent you and me. I have a vase of water that I'd like to think is our imperfect world. Now these oranges have a layer of thick skin on them, and I like to think that that thick skin is like our armor that we are to put on. The thick skin represents the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, feet fitted to share God's peace, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Holy Spirit. Now, I'd say that this orange is fully protected. Who knows what might come to it? It might get dropped. It might get thrown into a bin. Whatever it has to experience, it is fully protected with a cover of thick skin. So let's see what happens when we put this fully protected orange into our imperfect world. Wow, look at that, it floats. It stands firm. Now, let's see what happens when I begin to peel off some of this armor or some of this protection. So let's say, for instance, it forgot to put on the belt of truth. So if it forgot to put on the belt of truth, it might start to believe some lies. Maybe someone said something ugly or not very nice, and they began to believe it. Oh no. So we start to peel. We start to peel away. How about maybe also forgot to put on the breastplate of righteousness? His heart was not guarded against the feelings of sadness, of disappointment, of discouragement. What about the shield of faith? It began doubting God's presence. It began doubting that God loved them. And so we begin to peel away some of the layers. This orange is now beginning to look a little different than the one that is floating in our vase. What do you think? A little bit of a different size? Yeah, I think so. So let's see, let's take this one out. This one is our fully protected orange. This is the one that has lost a lot of its protection because it has made choices of not to put on the full armor of God. What do you think is going to happen? We'll drop it into our imperfect world without the armor of God. Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. It starts to sink. And you know, it sinks even more as more armor or as more skin is peeled off of our orange. It no longer can stand firm. So my challenge for you today is to purposely think about putting on the full armor of God so that you may be able to stand.